to the garden. Today I'm going to share with you an incredibly simple and versatile recipe for cooking green beans. So I'm going to do a really simple recipe on cooking these up, and I'm going to try something new, adding some sage. I'm also going to add just a little bit of garlic. So I've got 1 clove, and we're going to be using a few dozen beans and a few leaves of kale. Now we'll start with our kale, just stripping down the leaves from the woody stem. Then I'm just going to do a once over with our knife, cut them up into nice little bite-sized pieces. So I'm going to stick fairly rustic here. I'm not doing anything too fancy, just a really simple everyday recipe. Now some of these green beans are a little bit overripe. You can see the beans swell up in the pod, they get a little bit paler green, but they'll darken up as we saute them. I actually like really thin slices. This way they cook a lot quicker, and we can use those overripe beans. If you're cooking these whole, you'll find that it takes quite a while, and they might be a little bit tough and kind of undercooked on the inside. But these little pieces will fry up really well. Look at that piece. Kind of split it down the middle there. That's beautiful. Now we'll chop up some sage. So I'll line up my leaves and then roll them up just like this in a little bundle. Then we can chop it down into very thin little strips. So we have these really long, kind of rolled up sage noodles. I'm going to turn them and then chop them again. Then we have a nice fine chop that'll spread that flavor evenly. And of course we can't forget our garlic, so we'll peel that. And then what I like to do is use the blunt end of my chef's knife. I'm doing this right at the edge so that we can get the blade completely flat without our fingers getting in the way. And we'll just take the blunt end of the knife and crush the garlic, just like we were chopping it. This is a lot like running it through a garlic press. And then because this isn't really finely chopped, I'm going to go over it in the opposite direction, just like we did with our sage. And we end up with a fairly fine mince. For how little effort that was, I mean, that's a beautiful mince. We can go over it once more. Now we'll just toss everything in a nice large pan. You can add the garlic last, and I'm choosing a large pan so everything is spread out. If it were all stacked up like this in a small pan, they would actually steam and they don't get quite as crispy. So we're going to fry these with some olive oil for about 5 minutes on high heat. Then we'll add our garlic last so it doesn't burn, and finish with just a little bit of butter. And here we have our beautifully simple and versatile everyday meal. So I do this with my green beans all the time. We started them on high heat with just some olive oil and a little bit of salt and pepper. And about halfway through, at about 2 or 3 minutes, I added our garlic and our butter. I wanted to add those a little bit later so they don't burn. But you can see the green beans get that vivid, bright green color. The kale gets that gorgeous dark green color. And this is going to be phenomenal. Wow, that's really good. The garlic and the sage are really nice. Those really work well together, I think. And you can mix this up and add a wide variety of vegetables. But this combination of beans and kale is really tasty. The sage is actually quite subtle, so I think next time I'm going to use a few more leaves. And what a simple way to prepare beans and kale. It only took about 5 minutes. So I hope you give this a go in your garden. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.